Hey, you made it to the spoiler section. Good to see ya. Welcome to Stubtown, PSU TV's review show. We're digging into spoilers on The Girl on the Train. Okay, alright, so Girl on the Train. Man, this plot is, there's a lot of things to talk about because it's one of those, it's a very plot-driven story, with pretty good characters, with good character work throughout, but, I did like that Emily Blunt's main motivation to get involved in other people's lives is tied directly to her life. Her failed marriage, like, she goes on this train every day to go into town, and she looks out the window, and at first she's talking about this couple that has like this perfect love, and you're like, this lady's a little bit off her rocker, which you should think because she is. But then she mentions, she like tries to hide it almost from the audience that, oh yeah, her ex-husband and their new family happen to be a couple doors down. And she also looks in on their lives. So I felt like her motivation to look into, like, to pay attention to this other house is nicely motivated. She's kind of hiding from herself why she's getting involved. And it also is nice for her to, it's a nice way to get the plot moving, and have her get involved. Because once she sees this woman cheating on her husband, it parallels her own story and outrages her. And because she's an alcoholic, she doesn't think clearly. She doesn't make the rational choice and not get involved. So I liked that, and Emily Blunt sells that like gangbusters. It's just about like when the third act hits. I was really engaged with this movie, really liking a lot of the way that things like that were tied together. And then the third act of the movie hits, and everything starts to like tie together, which is, it's good and bad. It's good that it all comes back around, but it was sort of, I don't know, maybe too neat. I don't know exactly what. I'm having trouble exactly wrapping around it. It was sort of the way that it was revealed, because the way that you find out in spoilers, like I said, that her ex-husband is actually the murderer, is that Emily Blunt's character runs into her husband's old boss, and she apologizes for a time she blacked out when she was drinking, and then the boss tells her that, oh no, she didn't do any of that stuff when she was drinking, and then she suddenly remembers every blackout she ever had that her husband is an abusive, terrible person. And it's just too convenient that he's only horrible. Ooh, give me one sec. We're gonna cut here. I'll be right back. And I'm back. It's seamless. Oh, you didn't see anything. Golly, what was I talking about? Yeah, her husband. And she only realizes that he was abusive during her blackouts, despite the fact that, like, in the movie, he's the main villain. He's an abusive person to, like, everyone. Like, it's the women he interacts with all treat him as though he's abusive, but the only symptoms of him being abusive are during these blackouts, and that's sort of problematic for me. That's not. I really don't like that at all. And granted, he's a cheater throughout, so we know he's not trustworthy, but the idea that he's abusive to the extent where he becomes a murderer only shows up in those blackouts, and that she remembers blackouts, which I'm pretty sure you can't do. It's it's just a little. It starts being a little awkward there, and then that's when a lot of the movie starts to sour a bit. There's this. She goes and confronts, she tries to tell the wife of her murderer ex-husband that she needs to get out of the house, but then all of a sudden his wife is acting like an abused woman and defending his actions and really trying to like stick it out, even though up till this point it hasn't felt like any of that was the way their relationship or the power dynamic in their relationship was set up. And then this is where the camera work becomes a problem too, because we stay in those close-ups and those really shallow focus, and the scene is the three of them sitting in like the living room kitchen sort of area, and they're all close to each other, and I feel like you could really play that for more tension when we know exactly where everyone is. But that shallow depth of field means that we're stuck so close to Emily Blunt's character that we can't see what the villain is doing, We can't feel the threat that he's imposing towards her. We can think it. We feel it through our empathy for her, but we can't. Not being able to see it makes it hard to feel that concrete sort of threat. So, and then the thing that everyone laughed at, right? Emily Blunt grabs a corkscrew. She runs out, and he follows her, and she stabs him in the neck with the corkscrew, which. So, like, I get it. Like, oh, she was an alcoholic, and she uses a tool of alcoholism to overcome her adversary. It's just so silly. It's like, you don't need that. You don't need a literal, it's too literal. It's too on the nose for me. But that wasn't where everyone laughed. That was played relatively straight. It was when the current wife of this guy walks up, and you think she's gonna maybe help him or something, and she leans over and she grabs the corkscrew and she just turns it further. And it should be very much like, yeah, we're in solidarity with each other. We overcame this guy, but it really played funny. The whole audience laughed. It was so over the top and schlocky that it was very. It's just impossible to sell. It's impossible to sell turning the corkscrew in the neck as like because it's literally like turning the knife, and I don't know, it's so on the nose that it really hurts it. And even worse than that, it fades out from that kind of goofy scene to her wandering around the city to Emily Blunt wandering around the city looking at statues with really cringe-worthy dialogue about how this event ties us all together now. And it's like, well, yeah, but that's not really a revelation. I don't know. It just, the ending really sours this movie. It's like eating a meal that you're okay with, maybe Mickey D's or something, and you're enjoying your burger. It's not the best burger you ever had, but it's okay. You knew what you were in for, and then at the end you see a little bit of mold, and you're like, oh no, what have I done? That's kind of how much that ending sours this movie. Your audience laughing at your crucial height of your drama is never good. Yeah. So the plot, it's sort of what you expect. And like I said earlier, with the Hitchcock, there's trains, blonde women, Emily Blunt's falsely accused, the husband of the woman who disappears is falsely accused, accusations are everywhere, no one quite remembers, and then a lot of subjective camera work, which I really enjoy. It's just that it was played a little too much. It got stuck in a visual style, I think, that ended up hurting it a little in the end. So yeah, as far as spoilers go, those are the big ones. Those are the things about it that I kind of recoiled from a bit. But like I said, there's stuff to like. There's solid motivation set up. They do reincorporate things, which is nice, but it can be sort of bad as well. It's just tough. These things, it's such a fine balance to strike, and this one didn't quite do it. So yeah, like I said earlier, it's a hard movie to solidly say I don't go see this, because there are things worth seeing in it. That being said, if you're a fan of the genre, be a fan of the genre. If you're really down to see this, if you really like murder mysteries, if you really like a sort of like the domestic drama, you'll like this movie. It's fine for that genre, and you'll still have to forgive the last 10 minutes because they're just that bad. But there's enough in this movie to really, really like and pull out of that I think you can enjoy it. That being said, if you're not a big murder mystery person, if you're not a fan of that genre, if you don't especially enjoy Hitchcock or David Fincher, you're not going to enjoy this sort of light version of that. Sadly, for fans of the books, I didn't read the book, so I can't comment on how quality of an adaptation it is. You'll have to go to another review show for that. But that's Stubtown this week. Remember, if you'd like to get involved in Stubtown or be on a panel, just reach out to us on Facebook through PSU TV's Facebook page. I'll contact you, or if once you send us a message, I'll reach out to you and see if we can either get you on the show or help your crew. We could really use the crew, and we could really use some panel members. So that's Stubtown for this week. Hope to see you next week, and I don't know, have a good one. Do good things. Yeah. Bye.